Hi, welcome to this Excel tutorial video. Today we're going to continue the series of videos on creating custom data entry forms. This is the 5th video in the series. I'll put links to the previous 4 in the description. Just to say that in the previous 4 we've covered a lot of stuff. We've talked about getting to this point of creating our data entry form, and I'm not going to recap anything. I'm going to carry on this video as if you've watched the previous ones. So I'm going to presume a certain knowledge in what we're looking at here. So it might be sensible, if you haven't already, to look at the previous videos just to kind of get up to speed. In this video, we're going to look at adding radio buttons to our forms, to our data entry forms. Just to say, this video was recorded in June 2021 using Excel 365. So our current data entry form looks like this, where we can add new people. You see I've been playing about with it just before starting this video. We put the details in here. We put whatever start date we need to put in here. We press add, and then the information gets added there, nice and simple. And then we can also select here one of the options that we've already created, and we can amend that person's details. Now let's imagine we need to add an option that is a radio button option. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to add a gender option where we're going to have radio buttons rather than drop downs. So I'm going to exit this form. Let's go to our Visual Basic. Let's go to our form, and we're going to amend this to add a new set of options. So I'll just pull these down here. Let's drag a label across here like we've done before, and we're going to call this that'll be our gender, and the caption is going to be gender. And then we're going to use this new thing here called an option button, and that is Excel's radio button. So I'm going to pull one across here, and I'm going to, right now it's overly wide. I want it to be as wide as this text box here. So if I click on this text box, I've got, within the properties, I've got information on the width, which is 72 here. And also this position here of where it is from the left margin. So I want this to be 72 in width, and I want it to be 78 from the left margin, and that should position it nicely like it has. Now, because I've now got that as I need it to be, I'm going to copy it and paste it twice more and just stick it underneath. And let us now complete these. So remember, we need to put a name to them, so I'm going to call it opt male, and our caption is going to be male. I'm going to put this as choose the next one down. We're going to do opt female, and the third option maybe you prefer not to say, so opt we'll just say, well, I don't know. And I'll just reposition these so we've got this back up here, so it's a little bit tidier. Like I said, we could have done a drop down for these. It probably would have been more sensible, but I'm just doing this to demonstrate the radio button. So now we've got these in place, let's see them in action. Let's go back to here and click on our form. There's our radio buttons, and if I click on male, fine. But if I think, actually no, I need to select the female option, it works correctly so that when I select one of these 3, it deselects whatever else is by chance selected. So I can't have more than one selected. And that's kind of how you want a radio button group to work. Now let's just talk about that a little bit before we go into it anymore. Before we start adding the code. So in each of these, you've got a new option that doesn't occur with other controls. You've got this group name option here. And this group name allows you to group particular radio buttons together. So it might be that this gender list is not the only radio button group that you've got. Maybe you've got another radio button group that is separate. If you didn't do anything, and by default the group name is empty, or everything is grouped together. So when you select one, everything else is deselected that was selected. So only one can ever be selected. So what you want to do is you want to group these things. So let's say if I do as an example, I'll put this as group 1, and I'll put this as group 2, and I'll put this as group 2. Let me show you what that is. So the top option here is one group. The next two options are another group. So if I select our form now and I click on male, now if I click on female, it hasn't deselected the male because it's got nothing to do with the male anymore because it's a different group. But if I select private, it's deselected female because these two are in the same group. This can no longer be deselected because it's a radio button, and when it's selected one, that's it, it's selected. So let's go back to our form. Let's go back to our setup, and we'll go back to here, and we'll either, if there's only ever going to be one set of options, then it doesn't matter, leave them all blank. But if you want to, and it's probably better form to give them a group name, and you know where you're at. Let me just test that. Perfect. Okay, now let's add some code to it then. So we want this to work. Let's first of all add a column for it. So we'll add a column here that is gender, and so there's a couple of different things we can do it here. So let's just double click on add. We've already got these bits set up. If you remember, you've got this int next blank, which is the next blank line, so it goes on line 21 in this case, any new entries. And we should be able to say range, let me think. No, we can't do that. So we've got to say if opt male dot value equals true, then, and then we'll say range E and in next line format R1 equals, and then we can just say male. And then we'll say else if opt female dot value equals true, then should copy this. Female, and then we'll say else private, and if. So let's try that. Let's just go to here. Let's add a new person. Male, and let's do the same thing with another one. Then let's just try this. I need to change our tab order. B. Right, so you see how it's worked. Perfect. Now let's exit that form, because right now what we need this to do also is when we select one of these, we need it to select these things as well. So let's exit that, and let's plug that in as well. So we'll come back to here, double click on our drop down. Now we've got, it looks like we haven't got range D on there, the date of birth, sorry, the start date. Well, that's okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say, at the very beginning, we're going to say opt male dot value equals false. Opt female dot value equals false. We're going to make all of them deselected. Opt private dot value equals false. Then within here we're going to say, let's forget about the start date for now. We're going to say if range e and int row, because int row is the thing that we've got for the currently selected row, dot value equals male, then opt male dot value equals true, else I'll just copy that. If it equals female, then and then in the other one we did it else, but rather than another if statement. But in this case I want to do an if statement, so we're going to say else if it equals private, then opt, and if, and remember as I'm going I'm tabbing things along just so I know which if statements belong to which. It's easy to kind of read. So now I'll put that in place. That should sort our list out here. So if I click on that and I select one of our new ones here, so person A, aha, there's male. But if I select one of the ones that doesn't yet have a gender selected, they're all deselected. So one last thing I guess to do is just to clear the form. So let's exit the form. Let's go back to here. And remember in the previous video I've talked about reusing code. So I've got this clear form here that basically does what it says, and it's just going to clear the fields. I've also got, if I come to here, if I come into this thing here, I've also got these three, which basically clear the three option fields. So what I might do, if I just cut them out, I'm going to create a new procedure here. I'm going to call it clear gender. And basically it's going to be those options there. And now I'm going to call that, if I just come back to here and I just double click on that, the top here I'm going to call that clear gender, and also when I click on clear I'm going to call it here also. So now if I come to here and I select person B, if I click clear, it's cleared these things down. So I've reused that new sub procedure here, clear gender. So I aren't reusing. The alternative was I just copied that and pasted it in two different places. If you find yourself using the same code over and over again, create it and call it from another procedure here. Right, that's the end of this video. I hope it was helpful. I hope it was understandable. Any questions, any comments, please leave them for me and I'll try and reply to you. Thank you very much for your time. See you next time.